Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to a mostly non-technical, but probably this one will be a bit more technical stream. Uh, this time we'll be looking at 2024 and looking forward to 2025. My name is Jan Dvorak, aka Storyteller CZ. Let's make sure that we do have all the announcements out. Be live on YouTube, Twitch, and X. Just want to do one more announcement on Slack. There we go. And I have a special guest today. I believe joining me for the first time on this channel is Jan Kuster. Hey Jan, how are you doing? Apologies, as always, my sound is acting up. I had a bit.
Sorry, that was my mic. I was muted. So hey, hey everybody, how's it going?
To go through all the freaking settings and make sure that it's working properly. Okay, now I can hear you. Also, apologies.
You can hear me, yes?
Yes, perfect.
Great.
How's it going?
Yeah, I had some awesome holidays, and now ending the year with another article on recap. And then you were saying like, hey, you want to do recap episodes, so why not join up? So I have approximately an hour of time, so let's see what's coming up here.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm right now looking into we're trying to find our drive and see if we have, because we did make predictions. I think it was in January about this year, and I do believe we have written them somewhere down. And as always, if you write something down a year ago, trying to find it afterwards is a bit of a difficult task. And let's see. Let's see, maybe if we have it somewhere in super old notes. I think that will be the 2023 in with the new, out with the old, the way forward.
Something like this.
Let's take a look at the super old, like the first episode. So in January we had Meteor 3 beta finally arriving, so that was a big thing, I think, this year overall. Let's check the way forward to see if we have.
Let me look.
You can try to find it. It would be awesome to kind of get started.
Which one are you looking for?
I do recall that we've written down somewhere our predictions for the year.
For 2025 or for 2024?
2024.
Oh, okay. We had an episode out with the old, that's true. We're from the Twim stream.
Yeah.
But let me check in Google Drive.
Yeah, I do recall we've written it down specifically for this reason, which is why I find this so hilarious that we have written it down.
So that we can, at the end, see what predictions came up, basically.
Yes, exactly. Oh no, I see it. It was the first prediction time in. I think this might be it.
Your prediction time is the name of the episode. You're right.
Yes. So I see. I have it here. So, to recap, my prediction was that we will be having upgrade discussion for the rest of the year. It was number one. Number two was Meteor accounts is going to get major new feature, and PWAs will start playing a more important role. And for you, Jan, it was that we'll get tree shaking, I guess. FredDB will become a serious challenger to MongoDB, and Meteor will get back on the stage of Congress. Just to kind of finish this recap, Alim said Meteor Cloud Business will support generic node workflows. Meteor Ambassador 2.0 program will open, and Meteor will get smaller, as in bundle size.
Yeah, we were really speculative there.
Yes, I think let's start with my prediction. I think that we will have be having upgrade discussion for the rest of the year. That is fulfilled just today. Earlier today, I've read a topic about upgrading to Meteor 3, and I think that's going to be going on for at least half a year, if not longer, just given how some of the companies and corporations are slow. I have an occasional company I occasionally consult for. They are still like Meteor 2.6 or something like that, so they have way to go. What do you think?
I actually, at least when I'm looking on the community packages, there's still some upgrade discussions. So we have from time to time some issues coming up from people who are still in the upgrading process, and there are also people in the forums that still have some issues or have some talks about upgrading. And I also have to admit there are still one or two packages I still haven't finally released 100%. They're still in RC mode or in beta mode, and I mean, I don't want to say it's because nobody's testing that. It's just I don't want to rush things on that when there is no response from other people, especially when it's a package that is widely adopted. Then I don't want to rush into a new major release, but rather have it a RC, and then things are still there. Then there are still issues like, oh, I'm currently upgrading my Meteor app, and I found that this package is still not released as final 3.0 compatible release, and then we're seeing, oh, there's still people upgrading, and my apps are already running on the upgraded, but with the RCs, but it's working, and I'm already in that flow, like, oh, okay, there's still something that needs to be done there.
Yeah, I think that's going to be for a very long time still. There's going to be an issue. I think probably till the end of 25, but that will be kind of getting into predictions, which I haven't really thought much about, which I hope I will be able to establish 3 prediction in this episode as I think about it. Meteor accounts is going to get a major new feature. I would say that one kind of came half through with the roles package being included, but I was originally hoping that we'll get WebAuth, which did not happen. So that is something that I could probably repeat that prediction and make that happen or next year. Now that we have work groups that we need to really get going next year. And lastly, PWS will start playing more important role, which I don't know. I think me claiming that it did somehow happen would be disingenuous. I think this did not happen. Maybe like in the grander scheme of things, but I think there were just like so many other things that were of bigger importance than PWAs. I think the only thing we really saw was the Jam offline package, which was really great, and more templates for PWAs in Meteor. but beyond that, really nothing, and except a little bit of a discussion. So that's, I would say,
I mean,
one point 1.5 out of 3 for me.
yeah. But
Not
I think
right.
you're much better than me because I think, okay, I mean, so I said we will get tree shaking, and my expectations of what is delivered in 3.1 was a little bit higher than what was actually delivered. That doesn't imply that that was delivered was bad or something. Not at all. Um, I just thought now we can move on to these most demanded features, and tree shaking is, in my opinion, one of the most demanded features. But I think it's for a reason that it's not implemented right now, because we're still on stale or like in the planning phase. If we replace or if we add Vite as a bundler, as an official bundler for Meteor, and that would be great because then we also have tree shaking, because Vite supports tree shaking, and
Yeah.
then this feature would be automatically implemented. So I'm not sad that it's not implemented or that it didn't came, because it was for the better to wait and see if we can advance with an established tool. FerretDB is somewhat in the middle because it's still not a serious challenger to MongoDB, but we are at the point, referring to our last Twim episode from Friday with Alim and Laurie, there is some movement towards full Meteor compatibility, and so maybe we just shift this one into next year as a prediction. So maybe next year FerretDB will become a serious challenger to MongoDB, because there's still this licensing thing, which is still the biggest advantage of FerretDB over Mongo. And the last one is Meteor will get back on the stage of conferences. And I think this one is true, at least with your appearance in Japan.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna save you're behind there with that prediction.
I I don't remember correctly, so please help me. There was also some React Conf you attended, right? Or was that something?
No, that was a React meetup.
Mm-hmm.
So following my podcast with Vasco, which I also highly recommend in general. And then I've talked about React, kind of making predictions for, or kind of talking about React, Meteor, and kind of what the future holds. And I think that's one big thing that I am increasingly negatively looking towards to. So yeah, that's something to explore in just a moment. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you were lucky, I would say, in that one. That was like a very big, didn't know really till the last moment if I'm going to be where I'm sitting right now in Japan, because that was all dependent on me going to the open source summit.
Mm-hmm.
So quite lucky, and I'll have to kind of see if I can make more of that happen in the future. And actually, I've opened recently one of the gifts that I got, which is this. Let me see if I can. So you can see it's like this wooden cup with the Open Source Summit Japan and AI Dev Conference embedded or embroidered there. So need to do a bit more cleaning now. Looking at it, I have been using it here on the hotel to drink a lot of good stuff. So that's apologies. Should probably get my not water, air filter going. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. So yeah, that's definitely. I say it. Yeah, that happened, and we'll see if we can kind of keep that up going forward into the future. I want very quickly to touch on Alim's
Mm,
predictions, which again, similar to yours, I would say one correct, two not. Uh, I think the one that he had correct was Meteor Cloud Business support generic node workflows, which I do believe now is available or soon will be available.
mm.
There is, of course, Galaxy has expanded to offer MongoDB hosting and
Yep.
you know Jolex. I think also Go applications as well, or one of them. I always miss that. Not
Yeah, I
clear
think
what
it
is.
was Go applications that are also supported now.
So I think that way Alim really was on the money where Galaxy is heading, or Meteor Clouds specifically. So that one that one is pretty cool. The other ones, not so much, but I think that's maybe if Alim joins us later, we shall see uh, on that. I want to kind of before we start looking up into the future, also look back on this year, and I've kind of put a question for everybody. What was the biggest event of 2024 in tech for you? And kind of set it up in Meteor. I think it's pretty clear that it was Meteor 3, moving us that forward. I would even probably say 3.1 because that's where we got to the latest node 22. So that's uh, really has been a big one, and everything else pales in comparison. But
Mm.
honorary mention, I think, are the packages from John Murrow, or Jam packages as they are known, which has, I think, became in many cases the de facto community standard
Yeah.
to kind of have included. So that was very nice touch that happened this year, and would love to see more similar packages coming up to the front.
Yeah. Totally.
And in tech, I think 2024 is the year of AI because everybody just couldn't stop talking about it, and there was constantly some new development. And really thinking about it back, I don't see like any other tech tech announcements, be it web development or in general, that kind of got over the hype of AI. Uh, Maybe for a little bit, the value of Bitcoin, but that was been always the case. That's always a bit overblown, and primarily because people don't
So
understand Bitcoin.
yeah,
What?
I just want to throw in because we're at this AI thing, and I don't recall a single big event, but you know what I really recall for this year is that um, every website, every social media, everywhere, every platform was full of AI bots and AI scams everywhere. So that's like it was like a
Yeah,
constant stream the entire year. It was like, wow, it's. I mean, this spam stuff was already hard in the past, but I think this year it just got. I thought it just got next level.
yeah, and it's going to get next level. One big thing I was kind of I'm thinking is sometimes lately there's this meme where like at one end you have, okay, here I have AI that's writes the email for you. I just summarize it in bullet points and AI writes it, and on the other hand uh, you have a person, I have here AI that summarizes the email in bullet points. So that kind of leads me, I think we'll probably see more advance towards what's the dead internet theory, where pretty much internet will be just bots and humans will avoid it. I think another impact is going to be that a lot of, I would say, creators or influencers will go out of business, because a lot of they will be just overwhelmed with, again, bots and AI stuff that will just produce the content they are producing. If it's like general stuff, nothing too deep, or doesn't provide like any domain knowledge, they will be just taken over by AI, and that will be it for them.
It's already happening at Spotify. I mean, there are these claims that Spotify is secretly creating these these ghost accounts where this AI-based music is generated to please a very large audience, and then in the hopes that these kind of playlists and these kinds of artists push aside the real artists, because your AI artists don't get any payment, but the real artists do. So of course there might be an interest in Spotify, but it's still it's claims. But I mean, it's already happening at least. So it's already a reality that you have these AI artists becoming a hard competition for real artists.
Yes, the thing is with music, it's Matt and that I know they're like AI, and I have account with one of them that can create music. So creating an AI to create catchy music that everybody is going to get addicted to, that problem has been already cracked. So it would not surprise me if they have it. The only probably thing that might be still lacking would be probably like lyrics creation. But on that, I actually want to bring another person here on the stage, Henry. He is our designer for Literary Universe, and who has been playing with AI, this pretty much almost since the beginning. So he can probably provide us some additional feedback as well. Hi, Henry. How are you doing? Hopefully we can have you here.
Hello, hello. I'm good. Hi, nice to meet you all. Sorry, I was stuck in traffic and I'm still stuck on my way
Okay. Okay, so yeah, you are very hard to hear. I'm going to send you. So let me know then in the private chat. Very, very, very quietly and very distantly, Henry. So let us know, or let me know in the private chat once you get back home, and I'll bring you back on. But yeah, I don't want to spend an entire time on AI, because I think my views are very well known. But I want to kind of step back. So as you said, for the Spotify AI, creating bots and all that stuff, very much likely. And this also kind of brings me back to an issue that we are having, or that we have been discussing with Literary Universe and authors that we could discuss with as well, where there is kind of fear that a lot of people, for example, won't go into these creative professions like writing or music, because it will be easier for them just to write prompts and get themselves, or just just become a prompt engineers and immediately produce amazing quality work, or output, let's say work, but without actually learning the nitty-gritty and improving themselves. And the fear is that we can lose a few generations of writers, I would say probably other professions as well. And the industries will be heavily impacted, and I find it very, how should I say it? Not necessarily like ironic or maybe backward. And there's this famous meme for like from a quote from a newspapers where I want AI to do my laundry so I can do the creative work. I don't want AI to do the creative work so I can do my laundry.
Mm. The question is also if there will be future regulations about that are even more strict. So I'm just trying to compare this. For example, when you look at sports, there is like you can use performance enhancing substances in sports, and it is highly regulated, and of course there are always people still doing that and then find new substances, get around these regulations and so on, but it's heavily regulated to keep these sports alive. And the question is if the question is who will come up with that. If this is the same thing as the EU trying to regulate everything, this will become full go down south. But when maybe there will be some artists, but also companies that will claim like we don't want to use AI, we want to keep authenticity, and maybe this will become even a feature. Maybe this will be a feature one day when everything is AI generated, that you can claim like this is 100% not AI generated, and this is authentic art, and this will also become a genre, and maybe.
Yeah. Well, so many things to put in here. Like for Letter Universe, we are taking the approach that AI should be an assistant, a helper, not in any way creative, which is also goes into the okay, if AI, and that this is becoming a problem with the image generating AI, which Henry will probably put us more details later on, is that once you have, and right now you have actually more images generated by AI on the internet than not, then AI will start even more consuming its own creations, and from past experiments and other things, we have seen that is the kind of total boil down into the AI just ceasing to function or producing anything meaningful. So that's another thing. So there's, I would say, even a like potential chance that the AI companies will then start hiring people to produce images and write stuff, so that they can have more content to learn on. And I agree, there may become an industry just, or I would say the creative work done by humans, the price for that is going to skyrocket. Or maybe not skyrocket, but it's definitely going to go up because it's so easy.
Of course. When there are only a few people capable of these things for real. Same with software engineering. If there are only a few people left who truly understand these concepts and these languages and all that stuff, and are not and could theoretically even code without any AI tool, if these people are only a handful, then of course their salary will also skyrocket.
Yeah, we can hope for those who are in those industries, but at the same time, I have like mixed feelings here, because for example with programming, coding, at one point I would like have people come in and do stuff, but at the same time the more people come in, then that depresses my salary. And especially now with AI, I think the short term can be that there will be just too many people to fill the positions, especially because right now in the beginning the feeling is going to be, we can just replace those pesky programmers and have everything cheaper. That's also in a way a bit of a core of the ongoing, say, X discourse that has been dominating about replacing one workforce with another and so on. So that's also like a one thing to consider. And I think as I grew kind of also older, is the realization that not everybody, I would kind of also say most people shouldn't learn to code, because it requires a specific, I would say, not skill set, but thinking about the world, and maybe like a personal dysfunction.
You also need to
so
be
so that
very patient.
Oh yeah. Well, I think I like the most the comparison about developers. It's, developer is hammering a nail into the wall by your head. So that that's like one thing, and I like started now looking or tracking how much everything takes me time, and especially doing all the different tasks. And I've kind of knew it before, but now I will have hopefully more hard data. But it is very time consuming. Um, so that's something that people don't realize, and it's like, oh, just change this one thing here, and then if you go into the code and everything and see the other places it's going to impact, things get very complicated. But going back, trying to go back on track, is that AI is going to be the talk, I think, for the foreseeable future. I would say there's a small percentage chance that it's going to distract itself, because it's just will dominate everything so much. But I think that's a big thing that we'll be constantly hearing about, and everything is going to be about that. There's going to be, I would say, small, especially in the beginning, revolution against this, where it's going to be, hey, we are human made, so that's our sell point. But that's kind of, I think, going to be evolving over the years. I'm kind of curious how it's going to have impact on, say, well, so not say like management, but administrative impact. Because when I was a month back in Tokyo at the trade show, there was a lot of AI companies specifically focusing on that. And finally, I think, given everything, there is going to be like a AI Cold War between, say, China and America.
Yes.
And EU is going to become a museum. Wouldn't even surprise me if it forbade or made any AI development in EU next to impossible.
Yeah.
This recently we have seen with the ChatGPT Sora, which is not available in EU. So I think that's a big problem in general for the future of EU.
But there's also one thing. There's also one thing, and that is this whole thing of there's low risk taking in the EU, and this whole AI developments currently afford to push lots of money in, because the infrastructure and the power consumption is just huge. And in the EU, there is companies and investors, they are much less risk tolerant than for example in the US or in other parts
or
of the
also
world.
EU is deindustrializing, so it won't have the power capacity for any of the AI stuff. So
yeah, that's also a thing.
So I started saying that EU is going to become a museum, and I think for EU developers, we'll see even more just going outside, and I think this will even worsen the innovation deficit in EU. So it will even make it shorter for whenever any company becomes tech company becomes from EU successful, they will immediately leave so that they have a chance to compete internationally. And it's freelancers are just going to go out. So what's going to I think happen in Europe is you will have pretty much if you are in tech, you will be just working like for some big corporation, usually with pretty ancient technologies. That's my estimate, and I don't have high hopes for the EU because there just has been zero significant attempts to try to turn this around, or any I would say step in the positive way gets annihilated with more regulations and steps in the other direction. And I kind of I think I kind of identify most with the analysis that this is the result of the world wars, or starting like with World War One, which annihilated which was such a traumatic event for Europe that to this day it has not recovered. And this is where the regulate mentality comes into, in hopes that we can regulate ourselves away from the next one, which.
But there's one thing, so if we will not be able to produce any AI stuff, and everything is hardly regulated, then maybe we will become the new continent of producing the content for the AI. So brain drain 2.0, so because as we said, someone who
yes and no, because then I think there you have regulation of any of that will be forbidden to go to AI or something like that. Never underestimate the imagination of the regulators to regulate stuff like that. And I actually talked with one of the people in one of the agencies that have been pushing for the regulations, and they totally believe that regulation is going to fix all the problems with AI and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and they just they believe that as Europe says, the world is going to follow with regulation, so there's no problem. And it's just these guys, or I feel that they haven't read any sci-fi, or maybe they just read the post-apocalyptic or AI sci-fi where AI turns bad, but they have no also kind of understanding of maybe the wider world, or how to say it. So that's a big thing. But Henry is maybe back, so let's try. Let's see what else he wrote. So Henry, I'm bringing you in. Let's see if we can get you in to close off our AI debate, because it's doing the same thing that it's doing to the industry. It's sucking out all the air from everything else, so we need to move onto it. Henry is still loading up.
I can, in the meantime, until Henry is loading up, I also want to provide you one more very positive example from 2024 with AI and Meteor, and that is the AI integration into the Meteor docs. That is actually really useful. I really found it very useful in many occasions, and that is because it's not only fed with the docs, but also with GitHub issues, Stack Overflow, and YouTube content. At least it's stating that on the website, and when you enter a few things, it provided you actually some good, valuable output often.
Interesting. Yeah, that's AI as an aggregator. I think that's a very good thing.
Yeah.
With me, most of the AI things that I've tried, would it have been more of a miss? Primarily because I tried a lot of creative stuff, which is where it failed on me a lot. Maybe with the exception of some of the image generations, where I was pretty much impressed. Been using Leonardo AI based on Henry's recommendation. And then recently, in the last 2 days, I have been working with Cursor, testing that. First day was a freaking nightmare, but today it has been, let's say, performing much better. So Henry, how is the future of AI and all that stuff from your point of view?
Okay, first of all, I want to say that AI is not quite as magnificent as we are thinking to be. Like, everyone are thinking that you can create anything with AI, but everything is back with data set, And, the saddest part is AI learned the things with artists. Okay, so they are learning the image with artists without consent with the artist. So that's why it becomes like a pro and contra with it. And for myself as a designer, I was using AI. I was sometimes I was thinking about using generate image. I need to think to board outside of this. So basically, like Ian, like mascot, we want to create. I think we will be prefer if we are doing it manually, since we are you know uh, how should I say it, like a creator platform. We are a creator platform,
Yeah.
so I think basically what we are generate is quite good, become with a comes with manual drawing or something like that, not using
Mhm.
an AI, because well we need to consider which artists they are using for the data set, or is it based on their consent or not. That's what I'm thinking about. That is it ethical for we are doing AI for itself. That's what I'm thinking. And also this creates like, you know I met a few friends like, hey, you're expert in AI. Could you do this to me? Like, do this to me, do this to me. And I said, hey, wait, hold a second. You want to create a like packaging based on the prompt? Yeah, okay, you create it. Okay, for one image, you cannot create it for 3D, like for left side, for behind, for top. You can't do that. Even with the same seal or anything else, you can't do that. There's a
Mhm.
lot of limitation from doing for executing with AI. There's still a lot of limitation, and it's not, well, I think not major enough for in design itself. Still have a lack of it. To be honest, still have lack. And I also want to create like fake influencer for literary universe. Well, for fake influencer, yeah, of course, it will be better if we have create like personification, like self-representative that life with the human look like, and I think it would be better. But of course, there's also a limitation. I try to reset it for 6 months, I think, and the end of it turns out it's not expected that want to be. So
Mhm.
there's still a lot of limitation for
Yeah,
using AI.
there's a few interesting things. Actually, I remembered one thing that kind of got in another discussion. In the beginning,
Mhm.
it was super easy to recognize AI art. Now it's much more, you could say, difficult.
Yeah.
Some like if you really play with the prompts, it can be really awesome. But I think uh, even after it becomes, you could say, perfect or whatever word you want to use, people will adapt, and I think eventually they will be able to recognize any AI created stuff, be it in writing, uh, be it in especially image creation. That one is even now
Yep.
pretty recognizable, especially if you're doing a quick prompt. It's I think it was going to be very interesting when it comes to um, I would say music and writing, especially like the essays which are very formulaic. So you have to have this many paragraphs. Paragraphs. The number one sentence does this. The last sentence does this, and so on. So it's going to be interesting to see how that is going to have kind of impact on evolving language and if in a way, I think there can be a bit of a dumbing down of language and everything. I kind of do feel like kind of going back to World War One, that since World War One, in many aspects, especially aesthetics, which also includes design, architecture, has suffered tremendously. I pretty much hate or dislike, with different shades of form, any of the architecture that's past World War One. The same thing with general aesthetics. Art Nouveau and Art Deco are kind of last styles that I find appealing and interesting. Everything after that, I just find soulless or demonic, and kind of in some ways reflecting the horrors of world wars. So that's a kind of big part of it, and you can see that also in fashion and everything. If I look what they were wearing before World War One, I find that very interesting compared to how simplified and uniformic today's fashion can be. But that's not really my area of expertise. I just don't like it. For example, that's why I bought. Not sure if I can make this bigger. Not very visible. This is for the heated table that they have here in Japan. It's kind of like a top. It's a bit more fluffy and everything, and then you put your legs under the table where it's heated. And like once I saw that in the store, also this pattern and everything, it's like I have to have it. It's just something very interesting. And the same thing kind of goes like with really other clothing that is I would say more aesthetic, more interesting. Big problem is that I need to get more into shape, so I look better in those. And then another time, like say, or even traditional clothing, not just like Japanese, but like even Czech, if I could get my hands on, that would be something goes. For example, one of my dreams once I come back, or like once I go and settle here in Japan, is I want to go and really get my hands on or get traditional clothing for the different situations. So just kind of little things there. So I think that's something that we have to kind of look into how the world is going to react to AI, especially as we've seen this say devolvement and simplification of everything. And I think especially like how we see with the music or writing, if it's just going to go into more, I would say, devolved state, that it will we'll probably have new words and vocabulary that will come out of it, or it can have a positive effect that people will become more interested in things like language and all that stuff. So it will become more complex, more interesting. But at the same time, we have TikTok, so I'm not that hopeful in that aspect. So that's a big thing. And a lot of the detractors, or like whenever I'm detractive about AI capabilities, say, oh, just wait a year or two, and the AI will be somewhere completely different, and it will be so much better, which I think we've heard with technology so many times, and eventually, I think the plateau comes much faster than the people who advertise it are willing to let on. Sure, if Henry or Jan, if you want to pick on any of that.
I have a little different approach on aesthetics, but that's normal. Everybody has their own personal preferences and things like this. And to me, I'm I'm thinking about when regarding, you said there are some styles and designs, maybe architecture, maybe clothing or whatever that really annoys you. Um, don't forget that there is always a counter movement that exists to any of the mainstreams. And the question is always if it can reaches if it reaches you or you can reach it, and if it's picked up by the mainstream as well. And for example, my wife loves design from the 70s, which is very organic and very very sometimes psychedelic, sometimes very organic, sometimes very natural, but sometimes very futuristic. So that was wild time in terms of architecture, interior design, but also clothing. And nowadays, I think there is a mixture of everything in it. So you can find designs from the 70s in things nowadays, but some of them disappeared entirely. I think what I'd like to see is that if if this is something you like to see, that in the future you can make this real and you don't have to wait for things to become mainstream to be adopted or to be available, because nowadays it's still the problem. And this is where I think AI has a huge chance to offer for these things, because it's like nowadays it's hard to find someone who can give you a 70s interior design and then make that even happen. Like with nowadays with you can with 3D printing stuff, this can become partially reality, and then it's these things are also much more customized, available on certain platforms than it was like 10 or 20 years ago. And what I just want to say here is that I personally, I'm still open for how it develops and see if it will become something that I just don't want to feed into the dystopian thing too much. You know what I mean, Jan? So that how people will interact with it is still open, because maybe the next generation will see like, oh, our parents really effed up with this stuff, and we will do it much better. That's what I want to say. And as I said, there are also some positive things to get out for me personally, and then maybe the future generation will also do that. Not every generation is more stupid than the previous one. That's not always the case. It's how we feel, but it's not necessarily the case.
Well, part of that is that, of course, we are older, so we have more experiences. But I really want to pick there on, as you mentioned, interest like in the past, and I kind of feel, and this might be side effect of the creative drought that's in the big old creative factories like Hollywood, Disney, and so on, is that we are only doing like remixing of the old stuff, and there really is not an emergence of, like, say, new styles, new directions. I think this might be only temporary, but so I'm hoping that this is kind of the darkness before the dawn on that. But also part of that is that the new generation, the upcoming generation, is smaller than the previous ones. So there is kind of decrease in generation, of course. And if the next generation is smaller, then retailers or people selling stuff are not going to focus as much on it to approach and kind of capture this new generation for their products, because the previous generation, which is much wider, and also through just being around more, will have more money to spend, so they will focus more on that. So that's another aspect. But Henry, any last words here on the AI before me and Jan geek out on prediction for technology for next year outside of AI?
Yeah, speaking of AI, I'm very afraid with AI, to be honest. To be honest, I'm very afraid of AI, but uh, you know, it's still a lot of potential and still have possibilities. Will AI change us? I think yet in next 1 or 2 years we won't be changed, but we must adapt to use it. Well, that's what other people say. It's very like skeptical, but yeah, it's true. So basically, like what I do as a graphic designer, how should I make using the AI? I think I should upgrade myself, not into a graphic designer anymore. I need to upgrade myself into like a social media strategies or something like that, and automate anything with AI to help maintain the goal of literary universe. I might be using that to upgrade myself. I think that's the most safest way how to adapt from AI, which is we're not becoming an operator anymore. Which is we need to uplift ourselves, upgrade ourselves to become more than just, well, uh, operator or something like that. Well, perhaps I apologize for my bad language.
Yeah. Well,
Well, that's
thank you.
what I was.
I'll be back to you, Henry, in a moment. But Jan, let's take a look at, and I want to, before you go, if you have any prediction now for Meteor going forward, and or like what do you think is going to be, except AI, any big, anything that you see kind of peaking up that might happen in tech in the next year?
Tech? Oh, I think there will be. I think there will be a conflict. I see a conflict coming up here, and that is because companies, especially in the realm of React, there is this pushing towards server-side rendering with the React components, and there might be a high adoption of this, but there might be also a portion of users that really don't like this becoming further or becoming even a fundamental part of React or something like this, and this might become a conflict. This is the one thing I see. Maybe not in 2025, but until at the end, going into 2026, this might become a conflict. The second thing I currently see is there are a few players that become new de facto standards, and like React became the de facto front end, and we got some things like Vite becoming the de facto build tool, as it looks like. Webpack was the de facto build tools for years, but it looks like, because Vite is adopted by many frameworks right now, and Meteor is also trying to adopt Vite because it's just really a good build tool. And under the hood, it uses other build tools as well, by the way, but it's just a good composition of these things, and it does what it does very good. So I see Vite becoming a major player here, and Vite is also built by the Vue team around Avenue, and I think that Vue will also play a much bigger role in the next year than React. On the one hand, because of this move to SSR and server-side components and all that stuff, but also because there was this. People might remember that there was this issue with React regarding the patent claims, and only due to the community that was withdrawn back to an open license. And Vue is an entirely open front end. It's 100% open source front end. So it's a highly community driven front end, and there's no big company behind it. This has advantages and disadvantages, of course, but I think it will increase its market share, And there's one thing I also see for Meteor and Meteor software, because I have to leave now, so I of course don't want to miss out Meteor and Meteor software. So what I see is currently, after the restructuring of Meteor software, that it looks like they will do a shift towards in the Galaxy realm. They will do a shift towards more hosting options and more income streams than only Meteor. Of course, it's a company, they have to be profitable, and of course, Meteor is, as the ecosystem, is still much smaller than many other ecosystems in the JavaScript community, like Next.js and the likes, and there are many other frameworks already out there. So this whole it's a very granular ecosystem, and many front ends, many frameworks with companies around it, all wants to get users and wants to get the hosting. Of course, they have to look out how they can keeping up with all that pace. And what I would like to see from them is actually also. I've looked on the Galaxy page. It's not available yet, but I'd like to see also any Node to any Node app being hostable there. So, and I think this is one of their moves that they will do next year. And in terms, my last one, in terms of the framework, we will definitely see a big. I wouldn't say it's a comeback, but I would say it's a big step forward in the Meteor framework because of things like the Vite adoption, because of these becoming on par with Node and all that stuff. So we're back in the game, and then this will be reflected in 2025 much more than 2024 did, because 2024 was still that year of upgrading and all that stuff. And in 2025, we can do clean, fresh start. People come new to the ecosystem. Every newcomer, you can tell them like, hey, this is how it's going to work. Don't be confused with how it worked in the past. Just look at how it's working now, and it's very similar to things you know from other frameworks. So, and then people are much more comfortable starting with it, and this will be a very positive experience, especially for newcomers. And with that, I have to leave now because I'm already 3 minutes above the time, and I don't want to steal your time. So have a great time, and I wish you a very happy new year, and then see you back in the new year, right?
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your insights. Very much agree with all of them. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you for coming.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. At least you and Henry, or me and Henry.
Well, yeah.
I check my notes. I will be. Yeah, go ahead.
No worries. You first, I think.
Yeah. So. Yeah, what Jan said there, I very much agree. The React world, I think, is going to have a bit of a war. Personally, for me, depending on how Solid is going to evolve, I will be, once Vite is integrated into Meteor, I will be making probably migrating to Solid, which has the same syntax as many of the same features, and I hope it's not going to start focusing on the same things that React is laid out with server-side rendering and all that stuff. So if that happens, then I will have to rethink completely everything. We'll have to also in Litter Universe look at the way how we have our abstraction, because right now it's one big monolith, everything in one. The administration is its own application, and especially as we get users and everything, we might start looking into frameworks like Hodo to separate the reading part out, and then only keep the stuff that is real time in Meteor plus the user stuff. So that is something that we'll see how things evolve on this, based on also on our needs and going forward, because then Hono is like a very lightweight and fast server, and we generate everything from the server and then send it to client, maybe with some interactions here and there. So that's one technical side. Just to kind of finish on this chapter, outside of AI technical things, I think that's a big one. We also have the AR and VR situation. I predict that Apple is maybe going to release a new uh, goggles or something like that, and we'll probably see something on that. But I think beyond the usual, new Apple product and similar thing is going to die out pretty quickly, at least when it comes to the coverage, and everybody is going to be again salivating uh, over AI. And in Meteor, I will work on making my prediction for improving the accounts packages through, so without N for hardware keys and all that stuff. So that's these example YubiKeys, authentication with them.
Okay.
Yeah, authentication with them coming to Meteor. That will be, if nobody picks it up, my stuff to do, and then other small improvements here and there. We'll see about the beat inclusion, and I think that's kind of what I see. We'll probably see a few packages from the community making it into core. Probably one of the cron jobs packages is going to make it. I think that was kind of necessary packages to be in the core, and maybe one or two more. We'll probably see collection and method hooks in some form. Not this one, not from the community package, but for some native integration as well. So I think there's going to be a lot of stuff happening on that front. So, but yeah, I think next year is like this year going to be really the year of AI. There is some rumors about quantum computing, which kind of goes in its own topic, you could say.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's
the crypto killer.
Yeah, it's like, it's with quantum computing. It's like, it's coming in 2 years, and that has been the case for the last 10 years. So
yeah,
I remain, but I've seen actually at the expo there was a small part dedicated to quantum computing, and there are some other things that challenge our understanding of universe, which kind of nicely puts me into the next topic. And this has been something I've been reading a little bit up. Is, I think, maybe not necessarily, or probably not next year, but in the next 10-15 years, I think we will be seeing a lot of breakthroughs in physics, hopefully, if this goes, because we'll see a generational shift. So new generation coming up with ideas and not burdened with could say really established way of thinking about world, especially so because and this shit happens in science in the theoretical realm, you could say cyclically, because despite best efforts and scientists to through peer review and other things, eventually a lot of the scientists, once they kind of have their theory that they have been like working on and supporting for 20 years, if they get contradictory indicators, they will instead try to amend it or explain in some other way, so things get very convoluted, instead of looking, okay, I was wrong, how do we, let's describe it. The thing is, the more we learn, the less it sometimes fits our pre-existing models that have so far served us well and explained things very well. But as we learn and discover more, we realize that they do not fit the new discoveries, and that's where where we have a lot of conflict going on there. So I think that's where we'll see a lot of shifts. Things like the quantum computing has, I would say, moved this quite a forward. So we shall see, and I'm quite excited to see what's going to come out of it. Maybe we will move we're gonna really make a lot of steps towards faster and light travel, which would be awesome, but can only hope at this point. So that's on that area, and that is also, we don't as a society fall into another dark ages or kind of conflict that destroys knowledge and moves us backward in development, which there certainly are forces trying to make that happen, and that's just not some religious fundamentalists, but also I would say we have a new religions that have been emerging for the past 10 years. I have been at some of the beginnings of that back in college when I first saw it. So we have to be also, as a civilization, very lucky. There's a lot of other big things that can turn everything around. So enough of doom and gloom. What about you, Henry? What are the highlights of 2024?
Well, 2024.
Yeah. Still the current year.
Oh my God, to be honest, I think
oh no, we've lost Henry. It's downside of internet connections in unstable regions. Let me finish my Pocari Sweat. Very, to say, probably my most favorite Japanese drink. It's just like iron supply drink. It has like some minerals in it. It's a essential here in the summer when you sweat a lot, or usually I also have it after onsen or similar things where I sweat, or like right now here a bit late. And Henry is back. Welcome back, Henry.
no. What happened, StreamYard? You hate me. It happens again. Okay, joking. Joke aside. Okay, the highlight for 2024. Okay, to be honest, well, I'm a bit. I'm kind of like well, to be honest, I'm like a pessimist person. Like, 2024, it's like AI things, war, and everything else. But luckily, I don't know if you agree with me. Got a quite good hope with Trump. That he said don't want to wars anymore, which is good. Well, I hope so.
Yeah, I was actually thinking like of Trump and everything, and I would kind of describe this been very eventful when it comes to American politics, internationally as well. But it's 2024 is another year of the meme or memes, because there are like so many. So And at least, from last time when Trump was in office, things worked out very well for me, or relatively speaking. So I have some hopes as well that things will move forward. Of course, as is with politics, a lot of promises. We'll be happy if 1/10 can be fulfilled, and then the rest, if politicians can get out of our way. So that also kind of goes into the next year also. But the downside of Trump is the hysteria around him of people who oppose him. So there's also big worry that some people might have kind of hype themselves into very bad states, and they will just do stupid things, and make the world much worse off. And there's a lot of things, if you are in position of power, that you can do to harm the new president or other things. And I think there will be. It's I have that's I think the big thing about kind of reporting from America. Just it's impossible to rely on the official, or not official, but on the traditional media, because they have proven again and again, when it comes to Trump and stuff around him, not to be honest actors and to be catastrophically wrong. For example, when it came to predicting the election outcomes, and be it this last election or the with Hillary. So that's something. And with that, we also have, thanks to AI again, we have deep fakes and other fakes. So it will be interesting to see how that impacts. Well, it's again, just if you can with the one prompt make some crazy things, like Trump writing dinosaurs or similar things. I think
for memes.
Yes, it's not like just for memes, but like the question then is, in the future, say they generate and they they can already generate voices very well, so they can generate some very bad looking speech, or something that looks like a recording in a private, or just like other things, and they'd be like, oh, can you believe he or she said that? And that will then become of course, first of all, the usual, before you can put out what actually was said or was not said, or if it's true or false, the lie has already been all over the media. So that will be super difficult. And then we will be kind of reliant on official sources to confirm if the photo or video is real. You can maybe say that we can say that every or maybe one social media, that every video and photo has like a blockchain or something to that effect that kind of verifies its true identity and where it comes from. So then you will be dependent on the official sources to tell you if things is real or not. But at the same time, if it's, for example, if it's true, if it's look bad for the candidate or for the politician, they will just say no, that's a fake. So it will be think we might have a crisis of reality, which in a way has already happened with Trump. So, and that one, I'm not exactly sure how kind of resolve that, because one thing is that you kind of just retreat into your own, let's say, political tribe or however you want to call it, and just kind of stick with that. That's why I'm advocate for like a monarchy to be the interim political system until we figure out how to deal with these things, so that there isn't. So I think it would be very interesting to kind of see how things goes, and I think a lot of people are going to go crazy. So uh, we will see, and that's kind of
Yeah.
potentially where EU might have some uh, make sense with, could say, or like I would say the impose with regulation. But at the same time, I don't trust the people doing the regulations, and it's useless if you have the superpowers in the world ignoring it and just going in, Cold War, uh,
Yeah.
evolving newer and newer, better AIs. So uh, that's that's kind of like issue. The same thing why I don't believe in a free trade with, between, say, Europe, America, and China, because it's
Uh-huh.
just, Europe and America have specific rules on their markets, like regulations on safety and other things that don't exist in China. So there is no, it's not an equal, let's say, playing field. Whereas, like, even between America and Europe, it's not equal playing field because of, state involvements and whatnot. It's much more equal than compared to, kind of state-run economy like China. So uh, that's one thing. So we could kind of deal with this if everybody was, you could say, in the same playing field, or would play with the same rules. But that's not happening. So either we need to protect your playground uh, from. So if you don't play with the rules, you cannot come on the playground. In this case, the market, or you have to kind of go and become the big bad boy to make sure that you can enforce all those your rules on everybody else. Which I think the era where America could do that is, if it's not already over, potentially coming to an end on the current trajectory. I would say
Mhm.
Trump could potentially delay that. I'm not sure if he can kind of turn the trend around, because obviously other countries have their own ambitions as well. And we've kind of, I would say, went quite away from the original topic. So that was 2024. Any other highlights that you would like to touch on?
Ah, wow. Nothing really. I think 2024 is my focus. Freedom.
Yeah, comment from Kelly about freedom, and that was about 3 minutes ago. So I'm not exactly sure what it refers to, but yes, freedom. Um,
Okay.
so 2025, what are we looking for in the, you know in the tech world, or the design world as well? What's coming up, Henry? Any predictions?
Predictions 2025. Okay. First of all, Video AI will be boom, just like as always. It will be boom. It will be have a lot of, well, people are using video AI for the content generation. I'm sorry, generate content with video with I think. And then the next big step would, everybody still want to be a content creator. As you know, all
Mhm.
of business, even just for food or anything else, you need to be a content creator right now. That's yeah. Well, that's the saddest part.
Yeah.
Start business, middle, everything else, you need to create a content. So 2025, this will be a big challenge for us. So that's why I'm very, I'm looking up. I have literary universe is a very big opportunity uh, from my
Yeah.
perspective, because I believe in the next years people are using content, everything. People are creating content, but, and I still do believe people are looking for genuine content. What is genuine content? It's not AI made. uh, AI is quite good. I try to using different prompt. I try to personalize prompt, but the output is very general. It's not genuine. It's not like people. It's not like, and different from what people's writing or anything else is very different, and it's so bland. I think just like the design from AI is quite good, but it's quite bland actually. You agree with me, yeah?
Yeah.
From, yeah, it's quite good. Generation is quite good, but some things feels, you can see, oh, this is AI. This is AI. It's quite good, but just just imagine this. You need to buy a T-shirt that is AI generated. Would you buy it? I don't. I don't know why, but I don't want to buy it. Even it's cool. It has a cool picture. I don't know why. Because it's not like a genuine art from my perspective. Also, and from my friend also has some perspective with that. And I think it does has something goes with writings and anything else. Anything the content that generate, it needs, of course, fully handmade with it must be tailored with
Mhm.
um how should I say it, tailored by manually by my hand, but not by AI. I think, in my perspective. I don't know. How about you, Jan? What do you think about that?
I think that this could be taken because recently one another author told me that she let AI write one chapter of her story, and the writers could not
Mhm.
distinguish it uh, from her regular work. To which you kind of have 2 points. Yes, AI is getting better in that, and if you really do the prompts, if you do the kind of put in the content and learning properly, then you can probably do that, especially if you do proper instruction, do the editing, everything. But at the same time, if that is the case, if your writing is indistinguishable from the AI looking like to write like you, then you need to improve and stop being generic. I think this kind of can be uh, applied to other fields as well. And Kelly writes here, kind of to you, uh, Henry, because there was no labor put into that product, nobody spent a piece of their life creating it. So it's as we would say, soulless, which I think might be the word that might be used and to distinguish between human and AI generated product. You could say, oh, that writing or that picture or whatever is soulless. It's missing the it, and you will get the same result if you have say movie or book or whatever designed by committee. Yes, sometimes it will be good, but for most, especially like intimate things like books, movies, or lyrics to a song, those, really, if you have design by committee, as I say, many people going there, you have, studies and everything, it will become soulless, and it will be just a generic product, 5085. That is for
Yeah.
consumption by the consumer, 5,824,431. So that's kind of, sometimes I like when I look, for example, on modern McDonald's. It's the design, usually if they have like their own building, or even inside this, sterile, uh, corporate clean, and it's like, here is your burger, mindless burger eater 5, and very different from what I remember, like from my childhood, as well. But that also because in my childhood, McDonald's was kind of the, uh, in the post-communist country, it was the height of, kind of the Western influence, and was very much sought after. But that's a different story. Yeah, so we'll have. So you said video generation is going to be uh, up and all the rave. Anything else?
Yeah. Hmm. There's still, I don't know. Uh, there's some technology in AI that I don't know if they are already probably could do that in 2025. Uh, the newest technology what I see, what I've heard is you could buy one picture by just your portrait. It could be generated by
Mhm.
3D, so they could
Oh
like
yeah, yeah.
generate
I
with
saw
your
that.
any. Yeah, I see the GitHub and not the GitHub actually the documentation, but I don't know. I think that's too good to be true. I think, and there's still documentation, and I'm quite not sure they could produce that. Still skeptical about that. I think. How could you be
Yeah.
produced by one picture and could generate it by 3D? I still think about that. Well, I don't know.
I think that's doable, but I don't think that's going to be. It might maybe take longer, but that's possible. So I don't think that's going to be that much of a general interest, unless there is some nice thing that's going to make it accessible to general, say, audience or public. I think this is going to be really awesome for game studios or people just putting things into 3D models. But so it's going to be, I think, very limited use, which is also, I think, another interesting things with a lot of the um, AI stuff. I'm kind of curious, actually how much of a use overall it has, because there's, a lot of hype, but and I see like some occasional people, who manage to tweak it to do some amazing stuff. But I'm really curious how much beyond just the, basic, help in the Word document or something like that, or with text, how much is it being used, and by general public or corporation, what is gonna the saturation of society, which I think is definitely going to increase next year as we have more and more products coming in. I think also for the universe we might have hopefully some first AI assistants available as well.
Mhm.
And but yeah, I'm kind of curious because I think it's actually not as big as some people might have believed. So I would be kind of interested to see some numbers, which is going to be quite difficult to get. Anything outside of AI that you think could be super interesting? Let's finish on that.
Well, the Fed are lowering their interest rate, so I think will be a good opportunity for investors.
Not a financial advice, just making a disclaimer here.
2025, the Fed will be decrease their interest rate, so will be good opportunity to people investing again. But be careful, in the next 4 years, everything will be harder than this year. Everything will be all-time high. Everything will be good. I think will be boom. Still will be booming. Be careful, of course. A lot of scam, I believe. A lot of startups. Basically, just in the name of AI, gain the investor funds.
Yeah, that kind of comes, from all the crypto bros moving to AI, but I think from what I also heard from in the entrepreneur circles, the AI investment boom is mostly over. But I like that you are positive about the economy. It shows that you're outside of Europe, so that's all I'm going to say on that.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I want to kind of start wrapping it up because I'm starting to feel getting tired here. It will be soon midnight, and I will be waking up. Actually, fine for last day of the year. Will be making a trip around here to one station up north with Shinkansen or the local one, and then taking a local train across the mountains into the Yamagata prefecture, and on the way stopping by the local onsens and some Kokeshi museums. So making this trip, and in the evening for the new year I'm going into Českoja. So 2024, how did it go? I think all things considered much better than it could have been. A lot of setbacks. I think that's kind of the at least for me, kind of the theme of 2024, just setback after setback, and not being able to get where I need to go, partially because I had too big of a load. So going into 25, my goal is to lower the load. I will be winding down my work with Hand by One, where I am a co-founder and CTO. So that will be winding down, and I will really be winding that down as much as I can. And I will be really putting everything I can into Literary Universe to get that going. That's my goal. If I can manage to play things correctly, then really want to get to Japan to live here. It's just for many things that's just kind of like my standard goal that I'm working towards to. I will have to see how much I can dedicate to Meteor. I think I will have to definitely decrease my role in the Meteor community. What exactly that does mean, and how much I can reduce that by combining it with Later Universe, we shall see. But it needs to happen because I just need to put in the focus on Later Universe. Hopefully, I can find somebody who can help me with all the paperwork, bureaucracy, and all that stuff. That will be the biggest win if I can find somebody to work on that, and so I can focus more on the technological side, and or somebody who can help get us customers, both partners with companies or actual retail customers. That would be another big win to find somebody like that. We'll be finishing the Check Invest program, so that will be the first 6 months, where that will be my main focus to get that running and finished on time, because we don't have have a very strict deadline. So at the very least, that is my focus the first 6 months. And hopefully after that we'll be going to Japan, but that remains to be seen. That's what I'll be working for. So that means I will have very specific contributions to Meteor. Already hinted at that I will be, or talked about, I will be working on the WebAuthn for accounts, because there's also something that I want for Later Universe for security. And predictions beyond that, I think Jan has made a very nice predictions in general, which I agree. I also already mentioned, the wheat and all that stuff coming in. We'll have to probably think a bit more in January, because we'll probably have another prediction episodes as well to discuss this further about how I see Meteor going forward. But kind of WebAuthn and PWAs will be big. Will be interesting, and maybe smaller bundle size. I think there have been. Actually, in a way, Alan was right, because some steps were already taken by stuff like removing underscore and other things. So I think that's going to continue to improve, and we'll see performance and similar improvements to speed up Meteor. I'm globally, could say the broader, society and politics and all that stuff. I can relate to be behind the idea of Europe will become a museum. Recently, there has been an article about I think it's from James Lindsay, but I'm not 100% sure on that. About that Europe should just surrender to prevent a bloody, let's say, civil wars. This specifically applies, I would say, to Western Europe rather than, I could say, Eastern Europe, and it has to do with the Islamic migration and takeover. So Europe long term, I feel, is just going to be again become an unstable place. Of course, we have Russia, constant looming, you could say, dangers, and we have people oscillating between, Russia is a joke, paper tiger, and then using that to fearmonger. Um, so, and I think we can kind of have in Europe this attitude that Russia is a more of a paper tiger, while we have the backing of America and its economy. And I just feel that Europe is acting extremely irresponsible. If Europe is acting like if it's actively committing a civilizational suicide, and so I'm not comfortable where Europe is heading. Of course, I think the next 4 years economically has a great potential to do. At the same time, we might see potentially a Cold War starting with between China and America, and I'm kind of half and half that there might be more of a stabilization, or at least kind of potentially pause on a lot of the problems, because first of all, Trump is seen sometimes very justifiably as a loose cannon across the board. So a lot of the troublesome actors are really like hitting pause on all of their stuff, and they don't want to act because they don't know what Trump is going to do, and that all the crazy talk that he has, he might actually do it. So a lot of people who normally don't behave start behaving. On the other hand, a lot of the stuff has evolved and moved much further, so we might just see a escalation, or things. Because history is not, when we read it, it's condensed, but at the same time, it's it goes very slowly, and you can see it's like with plate tectonics. It just goes, and the pressure accumulates until at once it gets released. So that's I think what we've seen through a lot of it in the past. So as many people say, nothing is happening, and then everything is happening at once. And another thing also kind to realize when living through historic events, this comes from Tim Pool, nice example Tim Pool gives when he was reporting on the revolution in Egypt. He was on the square where there was the massive demonstrations, army flying over, all that stuff. And then he walked 2 blocks down into McDonald's, where a guy was sitting, eating his meal and watching football. So that's like another thing to kind of also realize, that a lot of the stuff can be very considered in one place, and the rest can be just going for it. So even like if there's like a civil war or wars happening, you will still have to go to work or to school and pay your taxes. That's not going to change. But so that's kind of all the uncertainties. I do believe we have an election next year in Czechia, which I am pretty certain, that the largest party is going to win. They're currently in opposition because we have a coalition of 5 parties in Czechia. The leader of that party is a Slovak. He's not Czech, he is a Slovak, and he was one of the informants for the secret police. And he has he's like, pro big business and anti small business. So that's going to be potentially quite an issue, but we shall see. I don't think that's going to have that much of a impact in general.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I can finally convince more people to support me in going to Japan with this. So that's going to happen. We'll have election there. We recently had the European elections, but they don't really change anything. Let's see. So
Hey, I have
we
yeah,
shall we
yeah.
shall we shall s- yes, we shall see it
Why did
very
you come
very
to
quickly
Bali?
in the first.
Why did you
Oh
come
well,
to
there
Bali?
is the yes, there is the Ubud Writers Festival, which I would like to attend with Literary Universe. So that's we shall see. And actually, if we manage to get the partnership with Literary Universe in Indonesia, then I'm thinking
Mm-hmm.
that uh, once that gets through and we have the money on our account, I'm going to pack my things and go for a few months, maybe like 2 to 6 months to Indonesia, uh,
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that everything works out there. The one big thing I've been worried about with Indonesia and everything is that I'm very sensible or very sensitive to quality of food and air, as I've discovered.
Uh,
So that's something that I will have to
no, no, Bali, no worries for the
live.
air and food. No worries for that. But Jakarta, you need to worry about the air. Also, traffic. I hate it. I just
Yeah.
walked for 4 kilometers and I got stuck traffic for 1 hour and a
Uh,
half. I'm sorry
oh my god.
for my lady. Suddenly, people are getting outside. It's same place, same time together. I stuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
hopefully things will get better once you finish building the new capital.
No, no. Actually, the new capital. It's I don't know. I cannot say it in this channel. I'm afraid. This is life. No, no. I cannot say anything. This is your channel.
I see how it is. Well, yeah. So we'll see how things go on that. So it's like going into the next year. It's at this both equally hopeful and terrified at the same because it's I think more than ever this year is going to be very decisive for the three universe and hence myself as well. So if things go uh, if things go well with that, then this is going to be a good year. Uh, if not, then it's going to be quite a catastrophic year. And I think that there are like equal chances, at least at this moment right now, that it can go. So I'm both equally terrified and hopeful. We shall see how it goes. I think the first few months will give a good indicator.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that will be in that regard. I think that's all I can think of. Chat, any last chats for prognosis, summaries, questions? So I will be ending in about 2 minutes, just to make sure that something comes in. And yeah, that's that's that. I will have to get my air filter more up to speed after this. Uh, as much as things change, they remain the same. So as I said, I don't believe in Europe being able to change the downward trajectory. So we will see a lot of that continue Uh, so I'll have to gotta adjust for that. A lot of uncertainty, which is definitely a big change. But I would say definitely more on the like in the big picture overall, I'm more hopeful than not. So I think a lot of this year, a lot of it, or not a lot, but quite a few important things that I was afraid are not going to work out worked out, including this Japan trip. And despite not being as, or actually, when I was here, it was like one, two, three, four conferences that I visited. So that's quite a lot.
Uh-huh.
Made some very very good contacts, and
Uh-huh.
now I need to really fulfill the last remaining point of this trip, which is to relax, have a vacation, and get kind of in a bit different headspace, which I have not been entirely successful with. The most I'm successful with that is when I'm in onsen, like I was yesterday, and I'll have to post more videos on that on this YouTube channel. But yeah, I was 1 hour in an onsen and had a few moments of really awesome zen there, and I want more of that. It's amazing. So, Henry, before we go, any last thoughts?
Hmm. Okay. Is it for Little Universe?
Anything?
So okay, maybe it's okay to share on this. Yeah. So it's I'm thinking about you were talking about uncertainty, but one more thing is the most certain is we need to gain our mass. I think
Yeah,
if everything is cool, our setup, which is our accessibility on our web, we need to fill our content more. Perhaps it's all right if we are using the Gutenberg or something else, something like that. And that's the time uh, we need to active more on our social media. And I believe I know how to uh, increase it to give to increase our views inside on anything else, especially on Instagram. uh, Instagram is actually quite good, and it has really have a good uh, increment on the views and anything else, because I already do it, and it's proven, and I could do it with the Little Universe also. uh, I think if everything else is already set, so we could move out our social media. And you know uh, a good visitor, or good, you just visit on, we will say that visitor first, it will have a good point for investor or anything else. I'm sorry for my bad English. You know what I mean,
yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah, yeah. So social media and
Yeah,
everything. That's
yeah. Increase of followers,
it's
increase of views. I know how to do it, but we need to
okay.
make
We'll be
sure
looking.
everything's good. Our accessibility on our web is quite good, because, well, that's our end goal.
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
getting there, and we just need to make the final push towards
if
that.
you're just Henry, come on, go make it crazy for the social media. Okay, well, I will do it. Boom.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to answer any comments. So I want to say goodbye to Kelly and everybody else in the comments. I hope this year was much better for you than it was for me, though I had, could say, relatively good years. So I hope we have even better than me. I want to wish everybody all the best in the next year, and hopefully the first few months will show us it's going to be a great, or at least a very hopeful year rather than a chaotic one. And I'll be back. Let me check. Not the 6th, but the 13th. Or maybe the 6th, I don't know. Probably, but yeah, definitely the 13th on Monday again. And we shall see. On the 10th, I'll be back with Meteor Dispatches. And I think I will be actually in January, just given how much of other work I will have. I'll probably skip one more. So I'll be doing on the 27th will be another stream. I'll be looking. One of the big things that I want to get done next year is as well is myself starting to write again, getting back into that, which is probably half the time that I'll get back from Hand by One. I want to invest at least into that, so that I myself can start, utilizing Literary Universe to its fullest as well, and be there in the trenches with other authors as well. Plus, it's once I get into that, I really love creating my world and all of that, trying to predict the future. So that's one big thing I also need to do kind of for myself and mental health. And with that, it is the in Sendai, where I'm streaming from. It's 3 minutes after midnight on the 31st of December. So in less than 24 hours, we'll have year 2025. And with that, I want to wish you all once again happy. Okay, had a bit of a connection lag for some reason, but once again, I want to wish you all a happy new year, and I will see you in the new year. And let me know in the comments your predictions, your things that you're maybe most proud of or that were amazing in the last year, and let's see what this year brings. And yeah, let's use the rocket emoji to indicate that year 2025 is going to be awesome. Godspeed, everybody.